Can we have another one? Or Rishabh, you can please call out the names so that they
Hi.
can get it started.
Hi. I'm Viral. I'm from Middle East, working as an accountant from past 9 years, and we have diversified range of products. And I have joined this course for upskilling and enhance my knowledge, and for career development.
Rishabh, please call out the names so that we can conclude the process and you can get it started.
Yeah, anybody can go next. Right?
So hi Kunal, I'm Satvinder. Am I audible to all?
Yes, you're audible to everyone.
Okay. So I work with HDFC Bank. I've got some 20 years of work experience. I started off my career with an advertising agency called Rediffusion DYNR. And then subsequently, then I joined HDFC Bank back in 2002. So I've worked in different fields. I started off from marketing, then institutional business. Then I was a branch head for good 7 years. And now I had a vertical called employee banking and financial solutions. So I had one of the teams here in Delhi. So my reason for doing data analytics is there is a big this thing use of data application in banking industry, and since I have my roots in marketing from where I started, I want to go into this solutioning. So there are a lot of initiatives which are being taken in banking industry, where customer journeys. All of you must be bank customers when you go down to the branch either to update your addresses or do some kind of an activity. Most of those journeys which earlier used to be at the branches are now being digitalized, right? And since we are a bank of a large size, and it's all customer trends and customer patterns are known only from data. So this data analytics will be a big thing in banking, and it will be a game changer of how banking goes. So I intend to, progress my career within data analytics in HDFC Bank.
Great, great. So I want next to get it started.
I think line is mute.
Can you hear me? So I want everyone to have a quick brief so that we can conclude
Hello,
this.
am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Hello, my name is Hemant. I live in Delhi. I did my graduation in BA. I am a fresher, so I decided to join data analytics for my job. That is my introduction. Thank you.
Okay, so it's an amazing introduction, Hemant, and I wish that we'll get your objective by the end of the program. And at the same time, I wanted you to connect with all the stakeholders who are representing different industries to get to know about the knowledge of the industry. Plus, if there could be any future opportunities in their team, probably they'll help the right person to help you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And just be focused onto the learnings and focus more towards the live portfolios.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get switch it to someone else and then guys, please do a brief about you so that we can conclude this process and carry on with another activities.
So Kunal, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Puneet Rastogi. I'm having around 13 years of experience in banking. Prior to banking, I did my BTech and MBA from ICFAI Business School, Mumbai. And I'm looking for the opportunities into data analytics. I'm currently not into data science, but I'm looking into opportunities for data analysis, be it in my own company or some other company.
Great, Puneet. Thank you so much. Can we have another one?
Hi, my name is Hariharan. I'm working in
Yeah.
automobile field past 22 years. I am the new one in this field. So first time I'm trying to learning or entering in the IT field. So this is first time I was just learning this. But before I'm just learn the classes, but not like this fields. This first time I'm coming.
Yeah, that's very great of you, and I'm sure that you'll have a smooth learning experience. And I think the more you connect with your peers and the instructor and mentor, I think you'll get to know about the career path. And I'm sure Rishabh would be a fruitful resource uh, in helping you in order to achieve your goals by the end of the program. So just be interactive, be getting engaged, understand your problem statements of your understanding, and then start working onto it. That's it. Thank you. Can we have another one?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Purvaja. I'm currently doing my master's in data science in Germany. And my field being fully technical, involving natural language processing and machine learning. I really wanted to explore the data analytics part as well. So I'm here for just exploring it and getting
So let me
started.
Let me thank you, Purvaja, because it's been a bit early morning for you. It's somewhere around
Yeah,
like 4 a.m.
it's
over at your
4 a.m.
timeline.
Yeah.
So I think this is what the good habits that we are trying to inculcating you, that you have been waking up early. So I
Yeah.
think your family would love to do so. They love the discipline you're gonna carry with for the next tenure. I would
Yeah.
also request you that please keep on. I'm sure it would be a pretty difficult for you to wake up so early,
Yeah.
but we just want you to push to put in efforts for a couple of days only. They obviously will not demand much further that. But I think the more you interact and then the more you engage with the mentor, I think this is where the real learnings takes place, where you'll have
Yeah.
the discussions, you'll get the clarity. And as Rishabh is the senior data scientist, probably he would be the right person to give you more clarity onto different dimensions and discussions in NLP and the upcoming generative AIs and any other new technologies are there. So that would also be an value addition for you, and probably you can discuss your ongoing concerns. Probably he could give you some alternative solutions that help you to excel in the ongoing task or the profile.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Purvaja.
Thank you.
So who is left now, or shall we switch it? Or I'll be handing over to Rishabh, and then you'll get it started. Or if you have any queries you want to discuss with me, because now I'll be going off. I'll be handing over session to the Rishabh now. So probably I'll meet you by the end of the program for a moment, and then we'll keep going through the schedules. Anyone who is left or any query for me?
So thank
Okay,
you,
let's
sir. We will get in touch with you as and when
sure,
required. And yeah,
sure,
thank you.
sure. I'll be handing over session to the Rishabh. Please, Rishabh, take on the session now, and please get it started. Rishabh, are you there? Are you able to hear us? Friends, just give me a moment. I'll be just working it out. Okay, he'll be joining in a moment, friends. Just give me a minute.
Sorry, guys. I was unable to unmute. Hope I am audible to everyone. Right.
Yeah,
I'm
sure,
audible
sure,
to
you are
everyone.
audible.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for joining. Let me introduce myself. So I have near about 8 years of experience in data science, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing. Prior to this, like I was working with Wipro for 6 years, and as a lead data scientist, and then after once I joined as a Python developer, and then later on I left as a lead data scientist, and then I joined Innovator. It's an US based healthcare. So I worked over there for near about 1 year 6 months. I was working as a senior data scientist there at Innovator, and then after I joined Providence, it's again a US based healthcare. Uh, at Providence, I'm there for next 3 months now so far, and I'm working as a lead data scientist here. Okay. So this is my overall journey, and I am into the mostly into R&D. So I have near about 46 plus patents across different countries: US, India, Japan, Europe Union, and many other countries. So yeah, so that's my overall experience, and I guess that I will be sharing a lot of my experience with all of you in this real world use cases and projects. So that will be the key takeaway for all of you guys. Today I will land into more introductory session wherein uh, we'll discuss how data analytics came into the picture. It was earlier there and how it got evolved. What are the key factors that we keep in mind while we build this kind of solution? And I will also introduce few tools, like what are things that we are going to learn, our learning path altogether. We may not start hands-on immediately, just understanding the flow, and then probably from upcoming sessions we'll start our hands-on piece. Mostly our sessions are hands-on, very less theoretical, very less theoretical, and all of you can also write code with me, and it's basically a live coding that we'll go on doing, taking multiple different use cases, live use cases, or some predefined use cases as well. Initially, we might go with some predefined use cases, and then as we move on, we might take some real-time use cases, and then we try to solve those use cases. So yeah, that's how we our learning would be, and as I said, it is uh, we'll take problem statement, we'll work a couple of weeks on that problem statement, because these are the real-time problem statement which takes a lot of time to analyze, understand, provide a solution to end users, right, to the business objective. And and you can also choose your own way, like as let's say if I select one topic that may not correspond to your interest, but as a whole, you can learn from that, and you can also implement at your own industry as well. Somebody from finance, somebody from HR, somebody from marketing. So you can also apply those techniques directly by taking the data out of your organization, and then you can just utilize that, and that makes more sense in your real-time practice, because you're learning as well as you're practicing at the same thing. So these are some of the objective, and apart from that, we'll have our many such data sets which I will be sharing with you guys. But those data sets are more for a practice perspective, so it's fine. Until you apply those in a real time, environments, taking data of your organization and applying those makes more and more sense. And whenever you get stuck, you have all those communication channels open. Just put your queries, put your errors, wherever errors you get, whatever errors you get. Just you can put it out there, and I will be responding you guys with all your questions and queries. Okay. So that's how pretty much we are going to start with. Okay. And also try to attend all the sessions so that you don't break the continuity. Okay. So for an example, I'm taking a use case which might take 2-3 weeks to get completed. Okay, 2-3 weeks means it's nearly 2 sessions per week, so it nearly goes with 6 to 8 sessions per week, right? As a whole, for a particular project to get completed. Now let's say if you break in between, then you will not understand the rest of the piece of your analysis. So that's my suggestion, that try to attend, because it's just 2 days a week. Try to attend all the sessions so that you understand the process end to end. If you break in between, you are going to lose a lot of things. And once you break it, you will not able to reconnect back until you are watching the recording and then doing the same set of practice at home. So it's always preferable that try to continue the session as much as possible, and don't try to break it out. So that's my suggestion, because we have seen that somebody breaks out in between, maybe just for a week. Later on, for them, it becomes very difficult to reconnect back, and they cannot come back literally, because this is something very different. You need a practice, and yes, this is the first point of suggestion, how to keep up your learning pace. The second point is you really need to practice. It's not like just learning over here for 2 hours and then you can become a master at data analyst. That's not the case. You really need to practice. You really need to like whatever, at least make 2 hours or 1 hour, at least 1 hour on a daily basis, in order to make it as an habit and a practice. Otherwise, you will forget a lot of things which may not be, will not able to basically do it, because there are a lot of technical stuffs which will be coming up. So the best part is take time, at least 1 hour a day. Okay, whenever you feel free, or let's say in the early morning. It's like a gym. Okay, you go to the gym, you know what all the exercise can make you fit, but if you don't do it, it doesn't make you fit. So it's the same thing that happens over here. Okay, you will know how to do the analysis. Okay, what are the steps required to do the analysis, but if you don't do it, if you don't practice it, it doesn't come into your analytical skill will not get developed. So it's basically a cognitive thoughts. Okay, like I have seen, even while I was leading some team, there are a few data scientists, data analysts. They're not able to think on a problem statement. They're not able to think how to solve it. Until I say that these are the steps, you go and do it, your problem will get solved. This is just because they haven't have a very good handhold, or they don't have that very good practice that they should do it. So that's my request, that the practice will actually help you in doing 2 things. Once you will be very fluent with your Python skills, okay, Python or SQL, your database queries and all. So you will be very thorough with those things. The second is it basically helps you to develop that cognitive ability on doing the analysis. Okay, and based upon that means you can eventually visualize the graph, what you want to plot, and then after you can write down the code. So once you visualize that what graph you should need, the next step is write down the code. You can only write down the code if you are well accustomed with it and if you have practiced. So these are the 2 things. just try to maintain it at least 1 hour. As I said, it is like your gym. It's a mental gym that you have to do. Okay, just take out 1 hour a day and try to make a habit. Solve it, take a problem, and then slowly, and it could be your office problem as well, right? And try to stick with your problem statement that you are working on office, so that it doesn't make you bored. Okay, at the same time you are doing some value addition, that is something extra from what you are actually working. So it's productive in both ways. So that's my suggestion, and then that's how you can learn the best. Okay. Any questions that you have so far? It could be anything, like if you have any questions, any doubts.
So, hi, you must have taught many batches, and
Yes.
people who come not from this analytics background. How have you seen people transitioning into their career? So, somebody like me who's got some 20 years of experience, and I mean, how easy or difficult is it for a person to transition?
See, there is two ways. You have to position yourself first. So the first is like, for an example, somebody who is having 2 years of experience, so they can focus more on the hands-on piece, because the industry is expecting that, okay, 2 years guy coming and doing the hands-on. Somebody with 20 years experience, industry is not expecting that coming and doing an hands-on. Okay, means just writing down the code. 20 years experience guy will not go and write down the code, but it is expected that you understand the end-to-end process, so that you can lead a team, or you can guide the team, or you can catch those loopholes what your team makes around you. Okay, so in order to get those understanding of uh, where the mistake is, or where the error is, how the analysis is going wrong, you need to have that idea overall. Okay, and an idea in the sense, if you can have some hands-on, then you can actually catch hold of those mistakes and errors. Okay, so it's like, to become a very good cricketer, you don't need to play cricket all time, but you should know everything. Like the umpire, they don't need to play cricket, they never played cricket. Some of the umpires are like that, right? But still they know the rules, regulations so effectively that they can just judge, right? So something very similar like that. So the best practice is, just put yourself in the shoes of analyst, data analyst, for quite few days, understand the process, and then position yourself as a kind of a leader, as a manager of data analytics. So that is how the people transition. So it's more of how you are positioning yourself and projecting into an industry. So that's how you can just position yourself.
So, I believe apart from data skills, data analytics skills, I think domain knowledge is also of good importance.
Yeah, definitely, because that only helps you to basically do these analysis. Domain knowledge is 50% analysis skills, 50% is domain knowledge, which both combines together to actually boil down your analytics much effectively. So both are required, that is for sure. Like, I'm into healthcare, I understand healthcare much better than any other industry. So my probability of doing the analysis for healthcare would be much effective than if I just do it for any other industry. But as in whole, once you understand the nuts and cracks of analytics, it doesn't matter really the domain piece, but to think and develop the thought process with your business problem statement, there where your domain knowledge comes in. Because algorithms are pretty much free from domain understanding, but typically when you go and do the analysis for your problem statement, domain knowledge is definitely.
Thanks.
Anybody else do have any questions that
Uh,
So actually,
Yeah.
I'm from the automobile field. Actually, this
Yes.
data analytics and which area it is supporting to in my career. I want to know which area is supporting this data analyst to utilize in automobile field.
Okay. So, see, like every industry has multiple wings. Automobile is more into the manufacturing. They focus more into the manufacturing piece. Okay. The other side is the research and the sales, the administrative area. So data analytics will come mostly into the administrative area. Okay. Where you might need to forecast sales for next quarter, or forecast the sales volume based upon, let's say, a particular region, based upon particular you can say country, if it is an cross country brand. Okay. So typically those are the areas that you will basically land into. Okay. Forecasting of
And
revenue.
there's one more thing.
Yeah.
Demand planning can also be done with the help of
Yeah.
analysis.
Correct. So once you understand that these are the different forecasted sales, okay, you can eventually understand that which product is uh, uh, more leading towards that sales. You can eventually understand, okay, so this is the most demanded product, and because of that we might land into the higher set of forecasted sales. So these are the areas where you will eventually land in once you do that. This is one side. The other side is the digital marketing, which is the new footprint altogether of marketing.
Right.
The digital marketing area is very interesting, where we try to understand what is the customer acquisition cost, okay, and how can you make the customer retained with your brand, okay. So those are the areas which are now coming up and then joining back into data analytics, because earlier these areas were very gray area, and the marketing methods were pretty rudimentary. People used to spend more on the TV ads, or let's say the poster banners. Now those investments have very skewed down. We still have the posters, banners, but not in a very huge amount. But typically only for the festive seasons we make those investments. But overall, what we get to see, get to see is the digital footprints are increasing day by day, and which area you need to put an advertisement, okay, which age group you need to put an advertisement. So all those things you can also define, or you can also predict and tell your digital and marketing advisors that these are the best fit areas where you can put your advertisement, okay, by doing your own self analytics. Okay, from where you are getting more demand, more queries, more solutions, you can do the analysis and then you can get back. So this is the new stream which is coming for every business. Like, it's not only for automobile. Like, you go to retail, there the digital marketing is there. Banking, investment, healthcare, everywhere these digital marketing is the new area. So these are some of the areas where you will eventually land after this, after you shift yourself into data analytics.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, no questions. So let me share my screen, and we'll start with. Just a minute. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So we'll start with how this shift has happened. Okay, shift towards data analytics. Okay, how the industry is shaping. Okay. And we'll also discuss that in future how it is going to impact a lot. Okay, maybe the impact is not clearly visible as of now, but later on these impact will be more and more effective. So just a minute, just give me a minute. Okay, so so far you already know a few of the things. For an example, you understand the importance of digital marketing, data analytics. But more about that, let us understand that how we eventually landed with this data analytics or analyzing a particular problem statement of business. Is it new and or not, or how we it get evolved overall altogether? So there are multiple reasons to it. Okay, so the primary reason of why it got boomed, why this entire analytics sector got boomed, because of two reasons. Okay, the first reason is cloud. Okay? And the second reason is basically you can say that network. Okay, now these are basically the reasons which are behind the screen. Okay, which people cannot often realize it, but it is basically behind the screen. Okay, means it's very the picture is analytics, and behind the screen these are the basically the levers which basically helping drive analytics. Okay, so before, like in, let's say, in 1990s, okay, or let's say 2010, okay, these are the period when basically analytics was very rudimentary in nature. Okay, when I say rudimentary, means analytics was very much specific to an Excel sheet. Okay, to some of the Excel formulas. Even at that point in time, Excel was not so advanced. Okay, analytics was very much specific to some specific activity. Most of the people and most of the businesses, they were not eventually using Excel as well. So it was like more into pen and paper, and it's very rudimentary. Like just imagine your banking system 5-10 years ago. There was no SBI. SBI was not having any digital app. Most of the users were having an SBI bank account. Okay, they don't have YONO, they don't have anything, right? It's very rudimentary process. Okay, and it's too much of paperwork. Now slowly the banking system realized that it's going to take a lot of effort, lot of manual tasks. Okay, people have to come and then do it. They need to continuously hire more people, right? The the cost on their employees are also increasing. Okay, and eventually some of the banks feels that that can lead to a lot of losses and unprofitability. And because of that, all this, once Paytm came into the picture, and then the entire banking system got diversed, and they started moving towards digital banking. Okay, and then after, there are few banks like DBS Bank. There are many more banks where you don't need to visit the branch anytime, like not even for a single time. And now for most of the banking system are like that. You don't even need, when I never visited my HDFC Bank, my own branch. I never visited. I think I visited only once or twice in 5 6 years. Okay, and I never visited. And typically for most of all of us, right, we don't need it. And that basically, uh, the entire hiring of the banking industry from the clerical positions, okay, has got reduced a lot. Okay, now, and why it got reduced? Because you see, I haven't visited to a bank, so I don't need those services anymore. I never visited in past 5 to 6 years. Okay, I'm staying in Hyderabad. My actual banking, my actual branch is in Bangalore. Okay, I was in Bangalore for 6 years, and then last 6 months, 3 months, sorry, I'm in Hyderabad, and I will be in Hyderabad. And I never mind that my branch is in Bangalore. I never mind. I'm not bothered about it. Okay, because I don't need those services sitting over there. I can just do everything digitally, whatever I want, whatever I need to change. Okay, I just can do everything digitally, right? So the the fact is, I don't need those services which are manual, and I don't need those services from bank anymore. Okay, and because of that, the demand of few of the job roles are shrinking. And I just give one example of it. Okay. One small example. And as these demands are shrinking, there are some specific roles which are coming in place to make these things happen. Okay, so typically in these mid-year of 1990 to 2010, okay, most of the analytics were very much rudimentary, and only those who do analytics, they were like the pioneers in the industry. Okay, they were the pioneers in the industry. So, and analytics was pretty much in Excel sheet, and nobody were using any of the biggest analytics tool, or there were few tools like SAS, IBM, maybe top giants like Walmart and all, they were using it, but not very effectively at an every level. Like nowadays, you have a lot of mobile apps who can actually do those analytics. Okay, so why this shift happened? So the major reason was cloud. So once cloud computing came in picture effectively and at a much cheaper rate, then we actually started storing a lot of amount of data. Now, how it happens? So before cloud, we always used to have data centers. Before cloud came in picture, we used to have data centers. Okay, now data center is basically nothing but, I'll try to show you. It's a data center for Facebook. Okay, so this is how the data center looks like, where actually all the data of Facebook is getting stored here, and it's huge. You can see it's huge. Okay, it needs a huge cooling system, and you can see huge cooling as well as power generation as well, because there are tons of machines, 100 plus machines, 1000 plus machines are there, These are storage device, networking device, servers, backup devices, where all the data of Facebook is getting stored. Okay. In my initial career, I have also worked in data centers. Okay, and like helping to fix these machines. Okay. So you can see this is how the data center looks like. One of the biggest disadvantage of data center was one of the biggest advantage of data center was data center needs a huge amount of area. You see, it needs a big amount of land wherein you can go and build up this entire laboratory. Okay, it's a huge. The second factor is it should be located or situated somewhere where it is very difficult for from any of the climate changes or from any of those uh, government security perspectives. So for an example, if you build and if you see them, why Bangalore is one of the best place altogether is Bangalore is basically towards the lower part of India, and it's basically at the center of the southern part of India. And it is very difficult for any country to come and infuse and get into those specific location. But you cannot make too much of data centers into an extreme conditions like in Gujarat or into the border states. You cannot do that because it is very easy to break out at the border states. So you have to be very strategic while building these data centers, because so that it is, and at the same time nobody should know, means there will be some set of team who is operating on data center, but the rest of other than that particular team, nobody will know where the data centers are for that particular organization. The third factor is some of the companies, they build their data center out of the country, so that is more risky. Why? Because if you put your data out of the country, it means somebody is building data center in US. Okay, but the business is in India, data center is in US. So that is not a legitimate process so far. Now the government has put a restriction now, okay, that you cannot have your data outside of the country. And the same restriction US government has also done. You cannot pull your data outside of the country. So, and it is unethical as well. Like if your banking data is out of your country, it is so risky. Okay, anybody can basically hijack and can basically crack the entire banking system, right? So it is always advisable that your data centers should be within your country. It should be in a very strategic locations where the people, where it is out from any extreme climate conditions like snowfall and all, and it is also out from any security breaches. Okay, and because of that, in the locations has to be very strategic. Most importantly, you need to have a lot of land to build these data centers. And second is, so let me write it down here. So disadvantage of data center. So what are the disadvantages? The first disadvantage is cost of land. Because you need to purchase that land, you cannot take it as lease. Okay, you cannot take that land as a lease. because all that infrastructure that you want to basically build, you cannot just put a lease and then build those infrastructure. Okay, the cooling mechanism, the machines, you cannot do those lease mechanisms. You need to purchase that entire land. So cost of land is very high. The initial investment is very high. Setup cost of data center, setup cost is also very high. The third point is those devices, the storage device, okay, the infrastructure, IT infra cost is too expensive. So IT infra cost is very high. What all things are coming in IT infra is storage device, backup, server, then to run all of these we need different software and their licenses. So all these are the very expensive. Like I still remember that one storage array, one storage device from Delhi MC. Delhi MC is one of the largest manufacturer of storage device. Is somewhere around 6 million to near about 10 million. It's 1 CR. Okay. So that is, and you need multiple such arrays like that, thousands of arrays like that. Okay. Moreover, the biggest disadvantage is these IT infrastructure, they have some lifespan. Means you made an investment now, so for 15 to 20 years, you don't need any. You might need to add more and more device because your data is increasing. Today you have a 2 TB of data. Tomorrow you will get 20 TB data. Okay, so your data is expanding, and because of that, you're, let's say, in a period of 50 years, you might need to upgrade few of these storage device. But each of these storage device will have a lifespan, or each of these infrastructure devices, maybe a storage device, backup device, server, or maybe a network switch, whatever it is. All these have a lifespan, like your computer have a lifespan. Right? Your mobile do have a lifespan of 3 to 4 years. So all the devices will have a lifespan, and because of that lifespan, you cannot basically, again you need to come and procure, again you need to replace those, again you need to buy those. So it's a lot of investments that you need to keep on pump on a daily basis. And the fourth point is you need a lot of expertise to manage this IT infra. So you need IT analysts or administrators, admins, okay, to manage this entire infrastructure. So all of these costs are basically piling together, and all of these costs are basically increasing on a daily basis. And because of that, the major problem that we face is most of the organization, they don't want to store data digitally because they need to set up these things to store their data digitally. Now what happened, like this investment is few $1 million of investments. So what we have to do is we have got an alternative on as in cloud. Now what cloud is doing is, let's understand in a very simple manner. Let's say you want to visit Mysore Palace. Okay, most of you have heard of it, Mysore Palace. You want to visit Mysore Palace. Now let's say you stay in Delhi. Okay, you stay in our capital. Now you want to visit Mysore Palace. So what you will do? You will take a flight from Delhi to Bangalore, and then you come down at Bangalore and take a bus or take some vehicle, and then travel 150 kilometers from Bangalore to Mysore. Okay, and then you will check in into an hotel, and let's say you are staying for a week at Mysore. Okay, exploring the Mysore, and then so you will be staying in a hotel, right? You stay in a hotel for 5 days, and then whenever you are ready to leave back for Delhi, you can just check out from hotel and then go back. So the same concept is there in cloud computing. You don't need to make all of these investments. Somebody has already built hotel for you, and that was basically Amazon, Google Cloud, okay, Microsoft Azure. So they have already built those hotels. What you need to do is come and visit for an hotel, okay, stay there, use that hotel as a service, and then once you are okay, so you don't need to make these investments of data center. Amazon says that we already need to make these investments for making our app globally acceptable, and then there are a lot of other things like content delivery service networks, okay, CDN, and using those things we need to develop this entire infrastructure. And what they did is they said that, okay, you can utilize this amount of data, pay me some dollars, pay me $500 or pay me $2,000 per month for utilizing, let's say, 4 TB of storage. So the idea was not to develop the entire data center, rather store all of your required necessary data in cloud. Clear? And then whenever you feel that, okay, I no longer need this data set, it is very old and it is not adding any value to my analytics, neither to my anything, you can go and delete it. So what cloud did is, how cloud got generated is, it is actually working on top of data center, but it's a layer which is like, it's an actual hotel, but it is not fixed for everybody. Like anybody come and rent out that hotel, you can stay 1 month, you can stay for 1 day, you can stay for 1 year, that's it. And because of that, lot of investment that were getting blocked by purchasing land, setting up IT infrastructure costs, those investments are now free. In spite of buying a home, you are now renting a home. So you don't need to make a huge amount of money or a huge amount of investment out. You just need to pay the rent. That's it. So a lot of capital is getting saved, and you can utilize that capital back into your business or something more effective, something more as a value added service. So you can utilize that money out there. And because of this cloud, data storage has become very, very cheap. And as it has become very, very cheaper, because our investments are getting saved, we are no longer utilizing our investments in building data center or physical assets. We are now moving towards virtual assets. And like this, the entire huge amount of investment got saved, and people are now using Amazon AWS cloud or Azure cloud or a Google cloud. All of them are in the same, all of them have the same methods and mechanisms. There is typically no disadvantage among themselves. Okay. So these are the best fit advantages of using cloud. And once cloud came in picture, then the rest of the thing industry thought, why not we just rent out from AWS, utilize that money in order to do the analytics of that particular data which is getting stored. Earlier that budget was not very flexible because we are too much focused on storing the data, managing that entire assets. Okay, we need a lot of administrator, and administrators are of many kind. Okay, you need database administrator, network administrator, storage administrator, backup administrator, because all of these are different technologies which are meeting together. So because of that, lot of our investment got saved, and now we can utilize that money to do some analysis of the business and get our business more effective, because earlier that budget was not available, and hence cloud computing has become a very important factor for analytics. Any questions, guys, so far?
Sure, Rishabh, just one question. Is PCP data centers are also covered in this data center, or they have other costs associated with it?
Sorry, what data center? I didn't get.
So let's say you talked about the Facebook data center.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow that data center got disconnected from the mainframe, and how the world will be able to access that metadata center.
Okay, so you always have a lot of replicas of your data. So if one of the server is down, the other server will actually come up. So you always have power redundancy. You will always have a data redundancy, not only one or twice. You will have 6-7 copies of the same similar data stored, located in different regions as well. You can also store your data. Let's say your actual data, you have two data center. One is in Hyderabad, another is in Bangalore. Okay, so you have a data of Hyderabad, create a replica in Bangalore. Okay, you can also do that. So it depends completely.
Got it. Another question is, see, you talked about cloud. I'm just wondering, all our PCs having a lot of space unoccupied. So let's say I have a 1 TB of hard disk, and I think probably 20 or 30 GB is utilized. So rest of space is blank. So why don't we have a process wherein our own we can lend our data space to some big company so that they can utilize, so that the cost of storing the data can be minimized?
Okay.
It's just a thought. It's not.
Okay. So there are a couple of things. So it's not always storing the data, but also like you have a lot of applications which you are hosting, right? So storage is not only storing the data, it is also assisting a lot of these application to get host. So data is just one part of it. hosting an application, accessing for millions and billions of users. For that also we need data center. We basically host applications in servers, and whatever the data that it comes is basically getting stored, or so we need a setup of this entire infrastructure, and then only you can basically leverage all your digital aspects, because you are making these investments for your digitalization of your business, right? Maybe it's a banking, or maybe anything, it can be anything. So storage is just one part, and there are a lot of internal stuffs to storage. It compressed to a ratio of 1:10. Okay? So whatever size you have, it is basically compressing 10 times smaller than the actual size. Okay? Given that it is already optimizing the storage, the storage is already optimized. Okay, storage is already optimized. So given that those considerations in place, storage means it is not only about storage, but it's hosting an entire application, hosting a database. Okay, and then the data is basically coming and getting stored in a storage device. Okay, so that is how the things works. Okay? So all these investments you are just making, not to store data, but also to leverage digital side of it. So you will store data through some application, right? Or through some portal, through some website. Okay? So those are the different means, okay? Or through some business application, whatever it is. So data centers are like, you can say, it is very discrete. In each individual component of data center have their own set of tasks or own set of requirement. It's very discrete in nature, but yes, we basically make these investments to actually digitize our application, and as well as storing is one of the factors that is definitely there, but also digitizing our application.
Okay, got it. So another question I'm having, you talked about Amazon AWS and Microsoft Azure. So do we have any Indian company who is into similar field? And if they are there, I heard that a lot of companies are into cloud space, but why they are not so successful like Microsoft Azure or Amazon AWS?
A good question. See, the idea of Azure, the first this idea came to AWS, Amazon. First of all, no organization can leverage up to them, because you need these investments which Amazon has already done for their business. See, Amazon business is building hotels. So they are already having that hotels in place. Okay, Amazon need this to scale their business, because Amazon is not only present in few countries, like it's trying to cover entire world, almost in every country except China. Almost in every country you might have get to see Amazon is there. In order to scale their business, they thought, okay, we already need a lot. We have a lot of data center. We have we have made all these investment already, because to scale their business. Now what they thought of, okay, as we have already invested, okay, why don't we create a SaaS platform, software as a service platform, where apart from Amazon, any other company can come and access that, can pay the charge for that as a rent, and can access that. So Amazon has made all these investment already, and hence it is very easy pivot for Amazon or the Google, and eventually Google also. Okay, Google data centers are also theirs, which is very huge. And definitely it should be huge, because the amount of data that Google stores is very, very high. So the idea was that if we have already invested, so why don't we put a rent? Okay, not all these storage devices are usable at every moment. So Amazon has built a capability of, let's say, 10,000 TB. Now all these 10,000 TB will not get filled in a day, right? They have some projection that within next 5 years, I will get 10,000 TB. So Amazon already have the setup, so it is a very easy pivot. They just need to build the SaaS service. While any other platform who is not having this entire setup, for them it's a huge challenge because they need to first procure this entire setup of data center. At the same time of procurement, your you will means they already have the data center, so it's not getting filled up, right? So you have some space left out. So you are just saying that, okay, as of now, I have 5,000 TB of space. Anybody can come and procure this 5,000 TB of space and give a rent for it. That's it. Just need to pay the rent, and that's how Amazon AWS team actually yields a lot of money. So these are the reasons. But for any other organization to come in, they need to procure all those physical hardwares, and then they need to build this software suite, which is going to cost a lot, and then their break even in their business will be very, very poor and very less, because they need to fight for next another 10 years to build this kind of data center, this scale of data center. It's not only this kind, but the amount and the scale of data.
But do we have such companies in India who are close to Amazon?
We have
or
supporting cloud service company, not exactly like AWS or exactly like GCP or exactly like Oracle Cloud. We have supporting cloud service companies. Supporting means some of the features which are not available in GCP or not available in AWS is made available by those cloud service companies. And then a lot of expertise on the cloud administrators are required. This cloud is huge. All the services that you are looking at here, fundamentally, cloud is huge. Hence, there is a cloud administrators who manage those. So typically, you don't. Most of the cloud companies, they actually sell services. Okay, they don't have any specific competitiveness with AWS. And the fun fact is, AWS market share is 70%. So 70% of the users who are using AWS, 70% of the users who are using cloud will always choose AWS over any. So 70% market share is already there. I think Azure and GCP, Azure is 10%, AD and GCP is 5%. And apart from that, the rest of them are basically there.
okay, got it. Thank you.
But we don't have any specific large scale organization who is enough competitive with AWS and GCP.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir,
Right.
regarding this Amazon and this Google, all the cloud servers, this data center is located in only in other countries only, or India also it is having any data center is there?
Yeah, India, there are many data centers, and like you have a lot of government data centers, which is being managed mostly by TCS, Wipro, and Infosys.
Okay.
So there are many data centers, and even AWS has their data center in Mumbai, Pune.
Okay.
So AWS has
that means our Indian data, they are stored in the cloud server in India's only, not out of the country. Out of country, they are not stored, no?
Yes. So that is the new rule that has been developed by government. Both the governments, US and Indian government, that data should not go outside of our country.
Okay.
In between, you got to hear a lot of applications were banned, right? Maybe 2-3 years back.
Okay.
There are many applications which got banned. Why they got banned? Because they were pulling the data and they were storing outside of India.
Yeah, they are not given access.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Just I want to know that.
Anybody, any questions, guys? You can just speak up. Need not to be a very right questions, but any questions you have in mind, you can just define.
So yes, I have a question, Rishabh. That you said that the cost efficiency has come. So if the infrastructure cost is so high, how is it possible to diminish the cost of backing up the store and giving the storage space to the companies? And how is it possible that you know the backend devices are also being done in a cost-effective manner?
Good question. So let's say you are having a house. Okay. Now let's assume like building a house needs near about 30 to 40 lakhs. Okay, right? Now, when you want to pay a rent for this, you want to give that house for rent. So what would be your rent? Somewhere around, let's say, uh, somewhere around, let's take 20,000. Okay, I'm just assuming. Okay, it can be greater. It can be. Now, in spite of spending these 40 lakhs, how much I'm spending? I'm spending 20,000 into 12, which is 2,40,000. Okay, and I'm spending this for, let's say, 10 years, so which is 24 lakhs, right? For 10 years I'm spending only 24 lakhs, while I have to spend now itself 40 lakhs. If I keep this money of 40 lakhs and if I put this into some appreciating asset, because this is not always an appreciating asset in this cost of data center, only cost of land is an appreciating asset.
Yes, right.
Rest of them is a depreciating asset, because every
Depreciating
5
assets.
years your electronic device will actually needs to get replaced.
Exactly. We need to maintain those in a span of time.
Correct. So only accept the cost of land. These costs are all depreciating assets. Employees taking their salary, so that's an additional cost of maintaining IT administrator. Software license, again, it's a depreciating, because you use software, after some days you again need to renew it, and it's a continuous process. So hence I'm just paying 20,000 rent for 12 years, for 12 months, which is 2,40,000, and 2,40,000 into 10, which is just 24 lakhs. After 10 years, if I put this money of 40 lakhs with, let's say, 10% on an average, so 4 lakh additional I'm getting every year. So 4 lakh um, in 10%, I might make a double of this entire money, which I'm going to invest just 10 years back, right? I can make a double of it. 10% of 40 lakhs, 4%, I'm putting into an appreciating asset of 10%. So in 10 years, I'm making double of 40 to 80 lakhs. Okay, even if you take 8%, okay, at an normal inflation rate, in 12 years, you will actually make double of it. So the advice is, and you are making a double of it, so you are making 80 lakhs, right? You are making 80 lakhs minus 24 lakhs, because that is the amount you are spending, right? That is the amount you are spending in providing the taking the service. So still you are left out with 56 lakhs, means from 40 lakhs, you have appreciated 16 lakhs and you have saved 16 lakhs, as well as you are able to store your data as well. Right? So we are able to save a lot of money. Just think in terms of dollars.
Sorry, think in terms of?
Think in terms of dollars. How many dollars we are able to save? Okay. So this is how I just gave a very small example. 40 lakhs is very small example. Okay. So this is how basically industry is thinking that why don't we, if I use AWS, I will be able to appreciate my existing revenue, whatever I have. At the same time, I will be able to save a lot of money. As well as I will be able to run my entire analytics with the same set of money.
Okay.
Right? So
yeah,
this is how
this is how
that's why
we are able to.
there is a rule in finance. Rather than owning a house, you go and rent your house, because that is way cheaper, and you can utilize that fund in some appreciating asset investments or some investments where you can basically get more returns than your property. Yeah. Sorry, you were having some questions. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know this only.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Do you have any questions? So this is basically why now you have a lot of amount left out, lot of money left out. Okay. And I also explained the simple mathematics behind it, how we are able to save the money. Okay. And this is why now the industry is shifting towards cloud computing. Okay. And with a minimal cost, we are able to save a lot of money as well. At the same time, we are able to basically we are able to avail all the services of data analytics as well. Now we have a budget left out for data analytics, so you can utilize that budget and we can perform our analytics on that. Okay. Now once we have the data, as it is getting stored in cloud, so data is fulfilled, data is available with us. Now we need to basically pull out a lot of, we need to derive this data out, and then at the same time we basically need to understand how can we make use of this data and help to improve our business so that we can develop some extra added revenue. We are storing the data, at the same time that money of storage should also give an impact to us. So that is what we are looking ahead now. We have the data already in place. in our cloud. And the second reason. The first reason was cloud. Okay. Now the second reason is network. See, because of networking, the network cost has also reduced a lot. Especially in India, the cost of network were reduced very less, and people started adopting those digital platforms. Okay, and now the cost has increased a bit, and because of people are habituated with those services, so they cannot leave those services. Because we are well accustomed with those services, so we cannot leave those services out. Okay, so hence we are utilizing those services, we are making use of those services, network services, and our adherence to the digital platforms has increased a lot. Because of our adherence to the digital platform increased, okay, we started generating more and more data. So for an example, before, when the network was not so prominent and the network cost was very high in India, I'm talking mostly in India because the cost of network is comparatively higher in US and other markets. So in India, suddenly when the network was given free by Jio, there are more and more people who started purchasing the smart mobiles, and then they're using the uh, Geo SIM for availing the free network services. And then they got adapted to that service for 1 year. They got adhered to it. They got the benefits of whatever is there in that particular service. And then after once Geo started applying the fees for their services, they're bound to pay because they got adapted to it. So one of the reason is digitalization that has happened. Means it's a government initiative altogether, but it has helped a lot to the different sector of businesses. Because let's say let's understand the two process. One is manual and digital. So let me write it as manual and here as digital. In manual, let's say you as a customer want to buy a soap. So we'll go and visit, we'll buy the soap from, let's say, a shopping mart or a shopping mall. Or maybe a local store that you have. Now the piece of soap you are buying, the organization, let's say you are buying a Park Avenue soap. They're not able to track your information. They're not able to track your information. They can only say that, hey, 10 soaps got sold from Reliance shopping mart. But they don't know who are their end consumers. Which age group is liking this particular soap? Which gender is more towards this particular soap? They don't know their end consumers. While in digital, let's you go, you as an end user, You go to Amazon or you go to any given app. To buy a soap. The same soap, Park Avenue. But here the things are different. Here you basically Amazon come to know that 50% of the consumers are male. Okay, let's make it 60. 60% consumers are male. 55% of the consumers are between the age group of 20 to 30. Like this, you can narrate the entire story. You can narrate the entire story and you can basically leverage, because Amazon needs sales, and it can basically leverage at which point of area whom we need to give an advertisement of this soap. Most of the advertisement will be given for those whose age is between 20 to 30. They will be given more advertisement to males, and then you can add location factor, region factor, and blah blah blah. There are so many other factors, right? So there is a lot of difference between a company doing a manual business versus a digital business, and everywhere you get always an advantage of digital business. Clear? So that's why once the network was established, means networking cost, reduction in network cost will change the economy of every business, and it is so sensitive in nature, like very less people can sense this out, because your digital platforms are enabling a lot of intelligence towards the data, and because of that, the more you purchase from Amazon and then Flipkart, and then there are a lot of clothing brands for Agio, Mintra, they're eventually taking all this information and then doing the analytics and then showcasing the advertisement to you. It also helps them to understand which price segments you are personally comfortable, so that the advertisement they do will have that particular price segment in place. Any questions, guys? Any doubts? And as the networking cost has gone reduced, cloud cost to some extent was reduced. Clear? Any questions, any doubts you have? No questions? Yes.
Risha, while fetching the data, suppose if we have my data into the server of Amazon, okay, and while fetching the data, so do we require to like fetch the data initially into the company's system and then do the analysis, or we can directly fetch the data from the Amazon servers?
Okay, so you can directly fetch. There are different mediums to fetch it. It depends that how you have stored the data. So data storage, now typically there is two pieces to it. One is your database, another is your physical storage. The database is basically a method through which you are storing the data in an organized manner. So you can access the data through database, but actually your data is not getting stored in database. The data is getting stored in those physical devices, where physical hard drives, storage arrays, where the data is passed through a database. The database is actually making it more processed in a row column manner, and then passing that in that particular uh, data to a database storage array, okay, where you can basically go and store it.
Okay. And then when we call the data for the analysis, so we call the data from databases.
Yes, from database. I will show you all of those things in real world. But yes, from database you can access your data. You have to write down queries, what particular data you want, how you want, in which format you want.
And when we are talking about this digital numbers,
Yes.
so yeah, because in my company we capture the imprints as well, as in when a customer comes over the application, how are they scrolling, and what exactly is the time they are putting into the application. So this data can also be stored and fetched.
So you mean can you repeat your question? I lost in between. Sorry for that. Can you repeat once?
Actually, we are checking on our applications, mobile applications. I don't know how, but we do have the information that when a customer comes on our application, then what is the scrolling time on the screen, and what is the time wherein the customer is there on the application, total time spent. And
Okay.
so So this also I want to know that if we store this data, because this data would be on a very high, this data would have a very high volume, because every day we are getting approximately 10 to 11 lakh customers on the application pan India and multiple times.
Okay. Yes, you
Even
can
that,
store the data. You can also store those admin data set, but storing a data is supposed to be a very in a normalized manner. So when I say normalized manner, I mean that not every data we try to store. We try to store those data which we feel that can be reusable for our analytics. But definitely nowadays, as I said, the cost is has come down because of cloud and all. So definitely you can store the data if you feel that that data is going to create an impact. So definitely we go and store the data. Okay, and it can be any data, because ultimately it is a choice of an organization to do the analytics. Okay, so if they choose to do the analytics, and be it can be any data, so it doesn't really matter much. And once you store the data, and data can be stored in any given form, it need not to be necessary that every data has to be in this form of rows and columns. Data can be stored in any given form.
okay.
Okay, it can be stored in form of image, XML, JSON. Okay, any given form it can be stored. The only thing is store those data which are reusable. Okay, or which are usable for analytics. If you are storing for analytics, then it is fine, man. But if the data is not giving any insights, just please try to avoid those data, because ultimately it's no point of filling your memory with lot of unnecessary data set. Though it is cheaper, doesn't mean that you will fill your memory. So whatever is required, you do it. Whatever is not required and not important for an organization, you can skip that data. Yeah, any questions? So these are the two aspects. Okay, there are many organizations who also store each and every digital footprint of a customer. People coming, accessing their website, clicking on which buttons, everything is basically monitored and traced and finally getting stored. So you clicked on login multiple times, you logged in, you clicked on buy tickets or buy any given item, but again you cancelled. So immediately you will start seeing an advertisement from Google on that particular object. Okay, so that's how your analytics runs at the back end. And in our upcoming sessions, I will come up with what are the factors that are basically used in analytics, and our focus primary would be onto what are the mechanisms that we apply, techniques that we apply in analytics. And first, our learning path, first we'll start with Python. And as we understand Python a bit, we'll move to SQL then. Okay. Post Python, there will be SQL. SQL, or it can be anything. I have Impala as well, so we can work on it, we can discuss on it. Okay. So that is how we'll start. Once we complete Python, we'll move to SQL, or um, we'll move to big data environments as well. Then we'll take a problem statement, start working on it, and you can also work parallelly on the similar problem statement. Any questions? So we have last 5 minutes. If you have any doubts, questions, you can ask. Yeah. It's an open forum for all of you. Any doubt, questions you have, you can ask.
So, Rishabh, can we take R also in our curriculum, or we need to stick to SQL?
Python is more than enough.
Okay.
R is very rudimentary, and you cannot scale your solutions with R. So Python is in both way scalable, as well as it's an object-oriented programming. Hence, you can also build applications using Python. So R is very specific, like you have something to calculate, something to do analysis, you just use R. But Python is very scalable altogether.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Rishabh. So how we are going to do hands-on practice on this platform?
So it's basically like I will take a problem statement, I will work on it, and you guys will have to do the similar thing with some other data. So that is how we are going to work. Okay. Once I show you how to work on it, then you guys need to practice a bit. That's it.
So we need to download any kind sort of software?
Yes, yes. Yeah. I will tell in the upcoming sessions.
Okay.
Rishabh, are we done? Are we done for today?
Yes, we are done. I'm just taking some questions.
Satwinder, just give me a moment. I'm just so Rishabh, there might be configuration issues with some of the laptops or devices. So I think Google Colab would be the best for people who would have some configuration issues. So please guide them while they'll be performing all this execution part or the alternatives to them.
Okay, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah, because there might be some configuration issues will come for some of the systems with the existing batch. So I think either they'll have to go and get it replaced with the new one, And because there might be some situations where they've been using the corporate laptops, their organization laptops. So they also do have some restrictions to perform and do that. So just help them out with the alternatives so that they can be able to implement and execute.
Sure, sure, no worries.
Okay, Satvinder, please go ahead. I'm sorry to disturbing you.
No problems at all. My basic question was, what will be the structure? So we'll start off with the languages and then uh, move to the concepts of statistical concepts. How do we plan to go?
First Python and then SQL and then moving to statistical concepts, analytics. And then we'll take a use case and we'll try to solve multiple different use cases.
Okay, that's great. It'll be a great help if you can do some use case from the industry that we are in. I just figured out there are people from different backgrounds. So banking and finance, if you can do some use cases for banking and finance.
Banking and finance, there are data sets. Some of the data sets like stock market data sets are there, which you can utilize in a similar fashion. Exact transaction driven data set may not be available because of some compliance.
Yeah. I think Kaggle has a lot of those data sets of banking and the prediction of customer churn or things like that.
Yes. So when it comes to analytics, prediction is different. It's more into the data science part. Analytics is more onto the exploration of the data and trying to solve the problem statement using it. So some of the data sets will be available readily. Some of the data sets we might need to download it from different sources, like stock market informations and all. These are pretty available from NSE, BSE.
Right.
There are many APIs which also tells you the different factors. It's different detailed information about that stock market. So those things you can do it, but yeah, real-time data, there will be little bit of compliances. So hence some of the data will be available, some of the data may not be available. Whatever will be available, we can take some use case. We'll take some use case on banking and then we'll try to solve it.
Sure, great.
So Rishabh, I have a request to you. Please take out around 3 industry use cases. So I think banking and finance, there are some professionals who are belonging to banking and finance. I think there are rest of the chunk is focusing towards healthcare, which you are already into it. So it would be great if you can share your real-time experiences and the executions with them, because there are some people from healthcare, and there are some coming from construction and basically this automobile. So these 2, 3 case statements, if it possible, please use it in your execution mode.
Sure, yeah, we'll do that.
And anyone is from any other industry? Okay, I think let's. Are we done for the day? So guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.
We'll connect tomorrow again.